1. Which of the following best aligns with the principle of andragogy in a HiSET science learning module? A. Using rote memorization of scientific terms. B. Incorporating learner experiences into lab discussions. C. Assigning mandatory textbook readings only. D. Repeating basic content for mastery. 2. What is the most effective way to evaluate a learner's understanding of the scientific method in adult education? A. Assign a reading quiz. B. Have learners define each step. C. Use a real-world experiment case study. D. Grade based on attendance. 3. In developing a HiSET social studies curriculum, what is essential to ensure curriculum coherence? A. Isolating facts by historical period. B. Repetition of major wars. C. Aligning objectives, activities, and assessments. D. Limiting learner input in planning. 4. What is a key mentoring strategy for adult learners preparing for the science portion of the HiSET exam? A. Provide detailed written feedback only. B. Encourage self-directed lab analysis. C. Assign all learners the same practice test. D. Avoid discussions on learner progress. 5. Which adult learning principle is demonstrated by connecting scientific content to everyday phenomena? A. Cognitive dissonance. B. Behaviorism. C. Relevance. D. Constructivism. 6. When mentoring learners through controversial social studies topics, what technique is most effective? A. Avoid the topic entirely. B. Use debate to promote critical thinking. C. Provide only one perspective. D. Encourage memorization of names and dates. 7. In science instruction, how can regulatory compliance be assured in an adult learning environment? A. Ignoring safety protocols. B. Following OSHA lab guidelines. C. Limiting learner access to materials. D. Skipping hands-on experiments. 8. What is the most effective method of formative assessment in a HiSET science review course? A. End-of-course test. B. Weekly attendance check. C. Exit tickets after each session. D. Final grades only. 9. How should social studies instructors evaluate the development of critical thinking in adult learners? A. By checking textbook annotations. B. Through multiple-choice recall tests. C. Using DBQ-style document-based questions responses. D. By monitoring test-taking speed. 10. In a HiSET science classroom, how can a mentor best encourage peer-to-peer learning? A. Prohibit group work. B. Use lecture-only format. C. Facilitate lab-based peer discussions. D. Avoid collaborative assignments. 11. Which method supports adult learners in mastering complex biology concepts? A. Weekly vocabulary drills. B. Linking topics to learners' life experiences. C. Long instructor lectures. D. Passive video watching. 12. What is the primary goal of using case studies in adult science education? A. Memorize data sets. B. Summarize textbook chapters. C. Apply theoretical knowledge to real-world scenarios. D. Fill class time. 13. Which practice enhances communication between mentor and learner in a social studies learning environment? A. Monologic instruction. B. Top-down information delivery. C. Regular formative conferencing. D. Delayed grading feedback. 14. What curriculum component should be prioritized in designing adult-focused HiSET social studies lessons? A. Lecture time. B. Memorization drills. C. Skill-based performance tasks. D. Unstructured discussions. 15. What role does feedback play in evaluation within HiSET science prep for adult learners? A. Minimal impact. B. Negative reinforcement. C. Immediate and specific feedback aids retention. D. Irrelevant to adult learning. 16. Which technique best promotes reflective learning in adult science students? A. Daily quizzes. B. Learner journals documenting lab findings. C. Textbook-only instruction. D. Timed multiple-choice tests. 17. How should a curriculum developer integrate adult learners' goals in a HiSET social studies module? A. Ignore individual goals. B. Conduct a pre-course interest survey. C. Focus solely on test outcomes. D. Offer fixed content modules only. 18. What is an effective regulatory compliance practice in a HiSET science classroom? A. Avoid storing chemicals securely. B. Include safety training as a core part of the curriculum. C. Skip safety modules to save time. D. Allow unsupervised lab access. 19. How can evaluation in social studies be made more authentic for adults? A. Timed quizzes only. B. Present-day issue analysis. C. Memorization assessments. D. Matching vocabulary. 20. What instructional strategy supports differentiated instruction in adult science classrooms? A. Identical activities for all learners. B. Provide tiered assignments based on readiness. C. Use only digital platforms. D. Avoid learner choice. 21. Which approach enhances adult learner retention when studying environmental science? A. Memorizing ecological terms. B. Analyzing local ecosystem case studies. C. Reading lengthy textbook excerpts. D. Watching unstructured videos. 22. When designing assessments for historical analysis, what should be prioritized for adult learners? A. Speed of response. B. Repetition of key dates. C. Depth of interpretation. D. Multiple choice facts. 23. What mentoring method promotes persistence among HiSET learners struggling with science content? A. Ignoring emotional responses. B. Enforcing stricter deadlines. C. Offering frequent progress tracking and encouragement. D. Minimizing personal engagement. 24. What curriculum design principle is essential when creating a HiSET prep module for adult learners? A. Pre-planned rigid content. B. Learner-driven planning and goal setting. C. Exclusion of assessments. D. Randomized content pacing. 25. In evaluating learners' understanding of government systems, what method is most effective? A. Dictation exercises. B. Political trivia games. C. Constructed response comparisons of systems. D. Oral recitation of amendments. 26. Which strategy supports adult learning during science lab simulations? A. Watching silent demonstrations. B. Reading instructions without practice. C. Unguided trial and error. D. Interactive, hands-on applications with reflection. 27. How can social studies instructors ensure regulatory compliance with education standards? A. Skip mandated assessments. B. Align objectives with HiSET frameworks. C. Use unapproved content. D. Allow informal content delivery. 28. What method best develops analytical writing skills for adult social studies learners? A. Filling in the blanks. B. Listing terms. C. Evaluating historical causes and effects in essays. D. Reciting passages. 29. When introducing scientific data interpretation, which practice benefits adult learners? A. Use real-world data sets. B. Require rote memorization of units. C. Skip visual data formats. D. Focus only on textbook charts. 30. Which principle fosters motivation in adult learners preparing for HiSET science? A. Restricting learner choice. B. Focusing on theory only. C. Ignoring career relevance. D. Connecting lessons to personal or career goals. 31. How can a mentor promote reflective practice in social studies? A. Mandating only fact memorization. B. Journaling connections between current events and history. C. Using only digital flashcards. D. Focusing solely on lecture. 32. In adult education, how should instructors address different cultural perspectives in social studies? A. Avoid controversial subjects. B. Standardize all examples. C. Integrate diverse case studies and viewpoints. D. Emphasize dominant narratives. 33. When mentoring HiSET science students, how can instructors reinforce metacognition? A. Ask learners to predict outcomes and explain their reasoning. B. Discourage questions. C. Focus only on grades. D. Provide final answers without discussion. 34. Which of the following fosters collaborative learning in adult science classrooms? A. Individual quizzes only. B. Competitive test formats. C. Peer teaching of core concepts. D. Mandated independent study. 35. What is an effective method for assessing understanding of scientific inquiry? A. Matching vocabulary terms. B. Identifying lab tools. C. Designing a hypothetical experiment. D. Repeating definitions. 36. How can instructors ensure communication is effective when delivering complex historical content? A. Speak quickly. B. Scaffold content and check for understanding. C. Use high-level jargon. D. Avoid learner interaction. 37. What feedback approach is most constructive for adult learners revising historical essays? A. General praise. B. Red line corrections only. C. Targeted comments with specific suggestions. D. Final grade only. 38. How can adult science learners demonstrate conceptual understanding rather than memorization? A. Completing fill-in-the-blank tests. B. Explaining processes in their own words. C. Taking only multiple-choice exams. D. Repeating terms aloud. 39. What curriculum feature enhances engagement in adult social studies learning? A. Passive lectures. B. Reading assignments only. C. Repetitive drills. D. Real-world application projects. 40. What is a key benefit of formative assessment in HiSET science courses for adults? A. Reduces need for instruction. B. Helps instructors adjust teaching strategies. C. Delays learning. D. Emphasizes final grading. 41. How can peer mentoring be structured effectively in HiSET prep programs? A. Match learners with similar strengths and weaknesses. B. Avoid structured roles. C. Rotate learners weekly without feedback. D. Assign unrelated topics. 42. What supports the development of scientific reasoning in adults? A. Standardized test practice only. B. Constructing hypotheses from real-life issues. C. Avoiding inquiry-based activities. D. Memorizing answers. 43. Which of the following best reflects authentic social studies assessment? A. Oral drills. B. Fill-in-the-blank quizzes. C. Graph interpretation practice. D. Simulated civic engagement tasks. 44. What enhances adult learner motivation during challenging science units? A. Isolated study. B. Emphasis on rote facts. C. Clear connections to real-world applications. D. Frequent high-stakes testing. 45. Which strategy ensures curriculum inclusivity for adult learners from diverse backgrounds? A. Exclude personal stories. B. Avoid culture-based materials. C. Use neutral, generic content only. D. Incorporate culturally relevant examples. 46. How can instructors address adult learners' misconceptions in science? A. Ignore them. B. Provide only textbook answers. C. Reprimand incorrect views. D. Use probing questions to encourage self-correction. 47. In mentoring, how should progress tracking be communicated to adults? A. Only at course end. B. Through ongoing, data-informed feedback. C. In abstract terms. D. Without specifics. 48. What supports regulation compliance in adult education testing? A. Using unproctored exams. B. Ignoring time limits. C. Adhering to testing accommodations guidelines. D. Allowing open collaboration. 49. How can science instructors promote curiosity among adult learners? A. Avoid student questions. B. Stick to predetermined answers. C. Pose open-ended scientific problems. D. Eliminate inquiry. 50. What is a reliable method for evaluating comprehension in adult social studies learners? A. True-false quizzes. B. Repetition drills. C. Short essays analyzing causes and consequences. D. Multiple choice recall. 51. What is the most effective way to incorporate collaborative learning in a HiSET science class for adults? A. Assign only independent textbook readings. B. Use timed drills to promote competition. C. Facilitate group investigations on scientific topics. D. Provide lecture-only instruction. 52. How can instructors improve critical thinking in adult learners studying social studies? A. Use inquiry-based discussions on historical dilemmas. B. Focus only on multiple-choice quizzes. C. Emphasize date memorization. D. Limit learners' questions to maintain pace. 53. Which of the following is an example of a formative assessment in a HiSET science curriculum? A. Final exam. B. Concept map creation during a unit. C. End of course test. D. Practice GED simulation. 54. What is a key mentoring strategy for supporting adult learners in social studies? A. Assign passive video watching. B. Repeat factual content. C. Recommend they memorize constitutional articles. D. Relate historical events to learners' life experiences. 55. How can science teachers assess practical understanding in adult learners? A. Ask learners to memorize chemical formulas. B. Have them recite textbook definitions. C. Require them to explain an experiment's steps and purpose. D. Assign spelling quizzes of terms. 56. Which approach best engages adult learners with different learning styles in a social studies lesson? A. Combine text, visuals, and discussion-based activities. B. Only assign textbook readings. C. Focus exclusively on lectures. D. Provide standard worksheets. 57. What helps ensure scientific content aligns with adult education standards? A. Letting learners choose all topics freely. B. Mapping lessons to the HiSET content framework. C. Avoiding mention of competencies. D. Using outdated science examples. 58. What kind of communication builds trust in a mentor-mentee relationship? A. Giving vague feedback. B. Speaking only in academic terms. C. Ignoring emotional cues. D. Being open, consistent, and respectful. 59. In evaluating social studies content, how can adult learners demonstrate application of knowledge? A. Role-play historical debates. B. Memorize a list of battles. C. Write a timeline. D. Identify vocabulary terms. 60. Which curriculum strategy improves retention of science concepts for adult learners? A. Teach broad topics quickly. B. Emphasize memorization over practice. C. Scaffold concepts through hands-on learning. D. Focus only on theory. 61. What is an effective way to promote equity in HiSET science instruction? A. Allow advanced learners to dominate discussions. B. Use universal design principles for learning. C. Teach all topics using the same approach. D. Eliminate peer collaboration. 62. Which mentoring practice supports goal setting in HiSET prep? A. Let learners work without direction. B. Provide the same goal to all learners. C. Set unrealistic goals to encourage rigor. D. Use SMART goals collaboratively. 63. How should teachers incorporate feedback into adult education effectively? A. Delay feedback until end of course. B. Give only numerical scores. C. Use formative feedback throughout instruction. D. Focus solely on grammar correction. 64. What promotes effective science content delivery for adult learners? A. Use real-world applications of scientific principles. B. Rely on abstract theory. C. Avoid hands-on work. D. Skip complex topics entirely. 65. What is the best way to adapt a history lesson for adult learners from various cultures? A. Avoid any sensitive content. B. Emphasize dominant culture only. C. Require learners to agree with textbook views. D. Integrate diverse perspectives and case studies. 66. How can instructors measure the impact of mentoring in HiSET programs? A. By giving informal praise. B. By ignoring learner feedback. C. Through learner self-assessments and achievement data. D. By using random surveys only. 67. What practice fosters scientific literacy in adult learners? A. Analyzing news articles for bias in science reporting. B. Memorizing periodic table elements. C. Reading textbook chapters silently. D. Taking timed science trivia tests. 68. What curriculum development step ensures relevance in social studies lessons? A. Using pre-made materials without modification. B. Aligning lessons with learners' goals and contexts. C. Avoiding controversial topics. D. Prioritizing memorization of dates. 69. How can teachers ensure adult learners understand complex science graphs? A. Skip visual materials. B. Use only written explanations. C. Teach interpretation strategies through guided practice. D. Allow learners to guess meanings. 70. What encourages independent learning in adult learners? A. Denying access to resources. B. Prescribing identical learning paths. C. Encouraging reflection and self-assessment. D. Testing only at the end. 71. What is a sign of effective adult mentorship in HiSET science prep? A. Learners show increased passive listening. B. Learners rely only on instructor feedback. C. Learners show increased confidence and autonomy. D. Learners avoid collaboration. 72. How can history instructors encourage critical evaluation of sources? A. Use one primary source for all topics. B. Provide questions with only one correct answer. C. Teach learners to question bias and origin of sources. D. Rely only on textbook narratives. 73. Which instructional strategy supports retention in adult science learners? A. Isolated vocabulary drills. B. Quick multiple choice tests. C. Abstract lectures. D. Using analogies to connect new concepts to prior knowledge. 74. What is the benefit of using project-based learning in social studies? A. Less need for grading. B. Easy to standardize. C. Enhances critical thinking and engagement. D. Faster than traditional testing. 75. In mentoring, how can instructors model effective problem solving? A. Ignore challenges. B. Avoid demonstrating processes. C. Solve problems with learners and verbalize thought processes. D. Focus on correct answers only. 76. Which assessment provides insight into science process skills? A. Spelling test. B. Lab report with hypothesis, methods, and analysis. C. Vocabulary matching. D. Date recall test. 77. Which strategy addresses varied literacy levels in adult social studies learners? A. Use complex academic texts only. B. Assign chapters without guidance. C. Provide multiple text formats and scaffold reading tasks. D. Expect uniform reading speed. 78. Which instructional method best supports concept mastery in adult learners? A. Frequent practice with feedback. B. Focus only on lectures. C. Assign extensive memorization tasks. D. Skip hard topics. 79. What is the role of active listening in effective mentoring? A. Allowing learners to talk without purpose. B. Controlling the conversation. C. Validating learner concerns and providing thoughtful responses. D. Ignoring learner feedback. 80. What defines a high-quality adult learning environment? A. Emphasis on teacher control. B. Passive learner roles. C. Mutual respect and collaborative learning. D. Uniform pacing for all learners. 81. Which method strengthens analytical reasoning in social studies? A. Drill and practice worksheets. B. Timed multiple choice tests. C. Comparative analysis of political systems. D. Reciting textbook content. 82. How can instructors ensure science instruction meets diverse learning needs? A. Provide only written instruction. B. Eliminate group work. C. Offer choices in how content is learned and assessed. D. Use one-size-fits-all lessons. 83. Which is a key component of standards-aligned HiSET curriculum development? A. Personal interests of teacher only. B. Learner entertainment value. C. Alignment with HiSET objectives and competencies. D. Use of outdated materials. 84. What is a mentoring strategy to encourage learner autonomy? A. Provide all answers directly. B. Promote independent goal setting and problem solving. C. Avoid reflective activities. D. Direct all decisions. 85. How should communication be tailored to adults with varied educational experiences? A. Use highly technical language. B. Assume high background knowledge. C. Simplify without being condescending. D. Only use print materials. 86. What is one regulatory requirement for HiSET instructors? A. Avoid testing accommodations. B. Use materials without review. C. Align instruction with state-approved standards. D. Ignore exam frameworks. 87. What promotes long-term retention of science content? A. Rote memorization. B. Interactive, spaced learning with varied applications. C. One-time assessments. D. Content cramming. 88. What best supports adult learners during historical analysis? A. Focusing solely on names and dates. B. Testing them on rote recall. C. Guiding them to analyze cause-effect relationships and context. D. Assigning busy work. 89. In evaluation, how can adult learning be most accurately measured? A. Single high-stakes exam. B. Portfolio of various performance-based tasks. C. Timed drills only. D. Peer evaluations only. 90. What supports reflective practice in science? A. Avoiding reflection journals. B. Providing only correct answers. C. Prompting learners to record and analyze their own lab results. D. Teaching with no feedback. 91. Which method best supports historical empathy in adults? A. Reading timelines. B. Memorizing treaties. C. Exploring diverse narratives through primary sources. D. Taking fill-in-the-blank quizzes. 92. Which teaching method fosters ownership of learning? A. Lecture only. B. Learner-driven research projects. C. Prescribed scripts. D. One-way communication. 93. How can regulatory compliance be integrated into curriculum planning? A. Focus only on learner interests. B. Ignore testing blueprints. C. Map outcomes to HiSET assessment standards. D. Avoid formal objectives. 94. What makes adult mentoring most effective? A. One-size-fits-all plans. B. Frequent testing. C. Personalized, goal-oriented guidance. D. Mandatory online modules. 95. How can science educators reduce test anxiety in adult learners? A. Surprise testing. B. Use of varied, low-stakes practice with supportive feedback. C. Time pressure drills. D. Ignoring anxiety. HiSET Science and Social Studies Test. The HiSET Science and Social Studies Test is part of the High School Equivalency Test HiSET and is designed to assess a test taker's knowledge and skills equivalent to those of a high school graduate. The science test evaluates understanding of key scientific concepts, interpretation of data, and application of scientific principles across life science, physical science, and earth and space science. The social studies test measures the ability to analyze and evaluate information in history, civics and government, geography, and economics. Both tests emphasize critical thinking, problem-solving, and the ability to draw conclusions from evidence. Test takers must demonstrate skills in reading comprehension, data analysis, and the application of knowledge to real-world situations, aligning with college and career readiness standards. Here are the top 5 beneficial uses of the sample exam. 1. High School Equivalency Credential. The HiSET Science and Social Studies Test helps individuals earn a state-recognized high school equivalency diploma, opening doors to employment, training, and further education. 2. Career advancement. Employers often require a high school credential. Passing the HiSET can improve job prospects, increase eligibility for promotions, and enhance overall employability. 3. College and vocational program entry. Many colleges, technical schools, and training programs accept HiSET scores in place of a traditional high school diploma, enabling learners to pursue higher education opportunities. 4. Military enlistment eligibility. A HiSET credential can satisfy the educational requirements for enlisting in various branches of the U.S. military. 5. Personal fulfillment and confidence. Achieving success on the HiSET builds self-esteem, especially for adult learners, affirming their academic capabilities and lifelong learning potential.